If you've ever wondered what stock members of Congress are buying, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Also, shout out to Benzinga Pro. Check it out because it'll tell you. Welcome back, folks. Happy Thursday. It is great to see everyone back. We're going to have a nice full day here. Also have a special guest coming on later, so get excited for that. Got my main man 13 in the back. Let's go ahead and break this market down.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
All right, folks. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome back. I got the office assistant. Got the office assistant right here. He's a little upset that the bird is no longer visible, but he's going to be hanging out. Maybe he'll even pick some stocks. We'll see. I got the better stock picker on deck. We've got 13 here. 13, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How's everybody this morning? I'm just trying to read over some of these earnings. I was just looking at DR Horton's. So,
okay.
Trying to get caught up on some of these earnings, but I'm all ready to go with what's moving this morning.
Okay, we're going to start with one just right off the bat. We don't even need a chart. LAC, I remember I had calls in this, upside calls in this, offering this morning, minus 27%. Them calls are dead. So see you later on that one. LAC down here about 27%. Thank you, EKS. Okay, let's go ahead and first talk about the SPY. Then we can move over to some of the gappers. We can talk about whatever else you folks have on deck here today. Here is your SPY chart. Looks like we are kind of continuing the way down. Now, so far today, obviously, we're inside here. It'll be very interesting to see if we break the bottom. I definitely expect another 500 retest here today. We actually traded beneath it very, very briefly yesterday before popping back above and then obviously closing above that. Closed just shy of about 501 yesterday. And today, I want to see if that gets retested. And if it does get retested, does it hold? Does it break? Does the selling accelerate? All that stuff. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be watching here on the SPY. 13, you got any levels in particular that you are looking for?
Well, with regard to the SPY here, we started to see that breakdown beneath 503 and begin to fill that gap that I had mentioned previously. But we did find support at 500. So that's definitely going to be a level that's going to be some strong support. We also have the 498.38 level, which is 5% off the all-time high. Almost reached that level yesterday, but not quite. We rebounded and pulled above 500 first. As for today, I'd still say that 500 is potentially in play. 503 looks like it wants to try to get back in between 503 and 505, where it was safely in that channel before we broke down. Those would be the levels that I have for upside and downside right now. I tend to believe that we're going to be consolidating a bit here, provided there's no, geopolitical or, major news that comes out with regard to the Middle East.
Okay, now I do think, don't we have Fed speakers here this morning?
We should. I think we do have some people talking.
Yeah, I think they're. Let me actually get the time here. Oops.
I'm sorry. I'm not on top of it with the who's speaking. I'm more looking forward to next week, where we're getting really big earnings, really big economic reports. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And I know we still have 2 days to get through, but that's just where my head's at right now.
Bowman this morning, Bostic later today. So we're going to have some Fed guys on the horn. We'll see if that affects anything right here around the open. Okay, good stuff with the SPY. One of the things that I'm going to be watching is going to be the SMH, right? We're going to be watching the semiconductors here. These stocks, obviously, we don't need to talk. We don't need to rehash what's going on with NVIDIA and SMCI and the like. But I'm actually going to watch this and how it reacts to maybe some of that Fed speak and just the broader market today. And then in terms of trading targets, I think we're going to go after SOXS and SOXL. Reason I'm going to dip back into this here is because these have actually been reverse split now. So we should be able to get some pretty decent movement on this. We'll see if this gives us some trading opportunities. So on the watch list today, SOXS, SOXL. We'll be watching ticker SMH for the technical setups and the levels. on that. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over to some of the gappers here, and then we'll hit whatever we have time for in terms of what the chat is looking at here prior to the open. Let's go ahead and flip over here. All right, first one on the list is going to be Turks. This is ticker TIRX, TN Ruxang Holdings here. Stock was a 50-cent stock yesterday, popped almost as high as $2 today. We're up 217%. We're riding that VWAP on the way up here. Turks, they had an interesting piece of news here. In fact, 13, I'm just going to let you cover the piece of news here. What do you think about this one?
They announced that they were going to do a share consolidation vote last night. This is because they received a delisting notice, and they have until May to get back within compliance. So what they are planning on doing is a reverse split. I don't have details on exactly what how big that reverse split is. Maybe 1 to 5, 1 to 10. But they already have 2.3 million shares in the float. So they're going to end up making their float extremely small as a result of this. So this could be a big mover later on after they do that consolidation vote, should it pass. But that's basically the news that it's moving up on, that they're going to do a reverse split vote.
Okay, and there we go. So that is going to make, not only are we going to get the reverse split catalyst that we've been seeing in some of these micro cap names, but on top of that, we're also going to get an extremely small float and should make this stock quite volatile. Now, certainly this is not something that you buy and hold for that reverse split. Obviously, we have some action here today. I would say be careful with that. And then keep it on your whatever note sheet you have, whatever notepad, trading journal, whatever it is, keep it handy. Because this is likely going to be in play when that split takes place. Okay, good stuff here on Turks. Next, we've got AGBA, and this is AGBA Group Holdings. AGBA, easy for me to say. Group Holdings shares are trading higher after the company announced it had entered into a definitive merger agreement with Triller. Okay. So this stock was 40 cents yesterday, up 180%. Holding on to this $1 level. We actually back tested that level today. And now we're kind of flirting with the VWAP, although here in the pre-market, we've just broken through that VWAP to the downside. This one, 18 million share float on average, trades 223,000 shares today. Already this morning, we've traded 22.5 million. 13, what do you got on AGBA? You like this?
I don't really have exact figures on or exact share prices on where this could ultimately end up. I do know that this merger is going to be the result of a $4 billion agreement with Triller. How it's going to end up, because this is this is going to end up being where Triller, I think that is going to take away 80% of the value of the shares, and AGBA is going to end up with 20 after the merger. I'm sorry, in terms of shareholders. So if you're a shareholder of AGBA, the resulting merger, you're going to have 20% of the value of the shares go to you. So that's about all I have on AGBA. As far as the pattern right now, it looks pretty good, like it could go higher, but I think I'll wait and see what happens closer to the open or after the open.
Yeah, I agree with you. Watching for that opening print seems to be the smart thing to do. Thinking about it wants to add something to our discussion here because it's Triller night. You're always going to get a rise out of me with the Michael Jackson reference like that. That's spectacular. Thinking about it. Good morning. All right. Next here is going to be BPTH. This is Biopath Holdings. Biopath Holdings shares are trading higher after the company announced the completion of its second dose cohort in phase 1/1B clinical trial of BP 1002, evaluating the ability of that drug to treat refractory, relapsed, acute myeloid leukemia. BPTH, this thing popped as high as 6. It's come back in. Looks like it's going for those highs again. What do you got here on BPTH for us, 13?
I start to wonder with companies like this, how much, more they're going to just keep on getting into these headlines. Like, I don't think this is really that big of a headline. The second dose cohort for a phase 1/1B trial is not really big news, in my opinion. It's a very small phase. There's very few participants. And this is just a part of a part, essentially, that they're reporting on. The bigger thing that I have concerns with, and you brought this up when we were talking before the show here, was that they don't have a very large cash position. They do have 752,000 shares in the float. They did do a reverse split back in February. So now they're in a position where they need more cash, because if you look at their balance sheet over the past several quarters, you'll notice that their cash position keeps getting lower and lower and lower. Now they have according to their last report, they only have $1 million in the bank, and they're going to need more, and they're only in phase 1. So they're going to have to raise cash. I'd be very, very cautious with BPTH, because they could do an offering at any point, maybe today.
You are spot on with that very cogent analysis here. This is a preclinical company, or excuse me, pre-revenue company that has only $1 million in cash, and they're only on phase 1. You've told us a number of times in the past, before 13, that phase 2, phase 3 trials, these take money. How is this company going to get money? Probably going to raise. So anyway, and then one more thing here. Jay is mentioning this here. BPTH, I don't trust any name involved with HC Wainwright. Actually, I will second Jay on this. I don't either. I was part of that Helios and Matheson blow up. I had some calls in that. Wainwright had their hands all over that. I'm with you on that one, Jay. That being said, this is absolutely in play here today for day trade.
Just be careful with this one. Know what the risks, because I just kind of outlined it for you. So just understand that if you are going to trade this.
Yep, absolutely. I'm actually going to skip a couple of these in the list, because I'm going to go to another one that's, I don't know if it's related, but it's, we'll kind of join the discussion here. This is going to be ticker BNTC. This is Biotech Biopharma. Biotech Biopharma shares trading higher if the company announced a $40 million oversubscribed private placement financing and reported interim clinical data for the first OPMD subject treated with BB301 in its phase 1b/2a study. So BNTC also had a PR here about OPMD. This is an ocular muscle dystrophy disease. It's fairly rare and normally occurs in people between the age of 40 and 50. Can be severe and life-threatening in its worst case, so definitely a market here. My question is, how big is that market? Now, a little bit different on this stock here. First of all, floats 1.9 million shares. This stock also pre-revenue, but has a cash position of 20 million. So perhaps they'll be less in a rush to do an offering, or perhaps they have money for the next step in the trial. That I don't know offhand. You can actually see the action here. Not great, right? Popped as high as 8, really kind of came back in. We're actually accelerating away from the VWAP. What say you on BNTC here?
Yeah, to the point about the cash, they're getting 40 million. They have these shares that they're oversubscribed, 40 million. There's a lot of people that want to be in this stock because that's what that oversubscribed means. But the data, like you said, that's still pretty early, but it's still further along than the last one we were just talking about.
Yep.
We did a reverse split last July. Don't really think that's going to have a big material effect, but this one looks far better than BPTH in terms of where it's headed and how it's being managed right now. So they are obviously in a much better position with their money, and it looks like there's some investors that are excited about this one. So this one is definitely more palatable, more enticing to trade today than BPTH. It's just that the chart's not looking too good right now.
No, but to that point about the chart here, if this does have a near-term bottom here, even if we make a move back to the VWAP, you're looking at about a 68-cent move right there. Maybe it actually pops and moves above that. We've actually seen this range get carved out to the 8s or the high 7 handle there. So good stuff there on BNTC. Just like the last one, I think I want to see how this actually prints at the open. I'm not necessarily in a rush to buy any of these off the open. All right, let's kind of jump back here. I know people are excited about this. We got another ex-girlfriend back, and more so than that, I know Lynn and Randy have big smiles on their faces because HOLO, JOLO, YOLO, here we go again. We have HOLO coming back here. This actually traded up yesterday in the after hours. It's done a really good job holding those gains here today, using 320 as support in the pre-market. Upside range of this 360. So one of the things we're going to be looking for is a break above 360 or a breakdown beneath 320. If it retests that level, then we've got a nice little confirmation there for a particular trade on HOLO. This thing also, as we've discussed before, there's been a number of different warnings about this. We watched this stock go from $1 to 51, back all the way down.
It went to 100.
You did it. Oh, that's right. It went to 100. So we've oh my God. We've seen crazy action. This, you folks should all know how risky this is, and probably not a hold overnight candidate. But what do you have here on HOLO, Jolo? YOLO.
Nothing really. I mean, there's no news as to why this is moving it. There is a high number of short interest, but I think that's only because the reverse split a couple months ago, and that just hasn't panned out. The float is less than 4 million. It's going to be easy to move around. And to your point, this thing has shown that it can create many bag holders, especially everybody that bought above $5 all the way up to 100. Just be very careful with this. Know what understand what your risk is if you are going to trade this. I don't want to say don't trade it, but understand what your risk is if you are going to take a stab at this.
Okay. There you go. Really good stuff here on HOLO. X-Sniper here asking a question I think we can address here. When you guys trade VWAP as a stop, do you wait till it closes below or above it, or do you close your position as soon as it crosses? So X-Sniper, this is a really good question, because when I first started using the VWAP, I did exactly that. I would wait. If the stock came down and tapped it or tested it, I'd be like, okay, VWAP out. Or in the reverse, tap it. I'd say, okay, VWAP buy here. Let's go for a move upward. Obviously, the market conditions were completely different when I was doing that on top of this. But one of the things that I learned is that there are a lot of head fakes out there. And I think that you're probably in a much better shape if you wait for a candle close. Now, a lot of that depends on the time frame that you normally watch, but how many times have we seen stocks really kind of overshoot a VWAP only to rebound shortly after? One of the things that, obviously when you trade these volatile, really kind of junkier names, as you've seen from me, I get head faked on a lot of these. So a lot of the times I'll try and give myself some room around that VWAP and maybe even a couple of minutes just to see if it can get back above it. This is a pretty good question, though. I don't want to speak for 13. So 13, I'll let you just explain that on your own.
Well, for me, when a price is hanging around VWAP, it's going to be dependent upon the time frame too. Like you'll see, the price hang out on a 1 minute chart sometimes for a long time, and it'll seem like it's just taking forever. Whereas like a 5 minute chart, which is what I use more frequently, I'll have some time to think about what it's doing and see what the price action is. Is it looking like it's going to start to break down? Is it going to start to take off? So I think it really is dependent upon the time frame and how it's trading around the VWAP at the time. For me, I don't immediately just get into it as soon as it touches VWAP. Because I have a 5 minute candle to consider, I wait and see what the price action is doing, what kind of highs and lows are putting in before I make a decision if now is a good time or not. There's other factors that I take into consideration as well. But when you're talking specifically about when to get in around VWAP, I think that the time frame does make a big difference in the decision, and it's also something that I just kind of wait and take my time with and see if I'm going to get, like Ryan said, head faked, or if this is actually finding support or resistance at the VWAP.
Yeah, really good. And one of the things that you mentioned in there that I left out, but that I also use is what else is going on? Is there extreme momentum to the downside? Is there a ton of selling? Is there a piece of news that just came out? If that's the case, I might not wait for a close because I might have a vastly different price if I wait for that. So it's always going to be a case-by-case basis. This is one of those things where information is power. The more information you have, in theory, the better decision that you can make on that. Really good question, though, X-Sniper, and thanks, 13, for addressing it. Yeah,
I'll just add one more quick thing there because you did bring up a good point. If we are getting like a violent drop down to a VWAP, and that's a particular level that I like, or I think might have a rebound strength, might be a different story where I could try to a bounce trade there, but there are risks with that. So typically what I like to do is I like to trade the little bit less volatile ones that give me time to make a decision if the VWAP is strong enough to hold it up in reverse or if it's going to fall through or not. But those trades are available in those high volatility trading atmospheres where they can just shoot right down to VWAP and bounce right back up. There are trades there too.
It was almost as if X-Sniper had this planned. Look at THCH, which is the next stock on the list here. This was using the VWAP as resistance, and then bang, you had a knife away from that VWAP. Look where it knifed to. It crashed all the way to the 119 support area that it made earlier this pre-market. And actually, it looks like it went a little bit lower and did try to bounce. So to 13's point, a lot of stuff that plays into that. Where is it going? All of that.
This is one that I think you skipped this morning, and I think there might have been a good reason for it.
Okay, well, we'll get into it here. We'll get into it here in a sec.
No worries.
Just got a comment on this. Jay Rice, you must have been in the washroom or getting some coffee. Jay Rice out here saying, "Hollow, remember it was 30." We already said that. In fact, we said it was 50, 91, and 100, outlining how crazy this stock actually is. Good to have you back, Jay. Hopefully the coffee is warm. Okay, now with THCH here, we do have a catalyst. TH International shares are trading higher after the company reported a year-over-year increase in Q4 financial results. Now, why were you laughing about this one, 13?
Because you didn't bring it up, and now it's just crashing.
I was getting coffee. I knew it, Jay. All right, you're going to be caffeinated and ready to go. That's what I get from that. So I'm sorry, 13. It was crashing and what?
It's just funny to me because, like, of all the ones we talked about this morning, this is the one that we skipped over, and now it's selling off. So it's like, okay, well, that's maybe it was a good reason for not talking about it.
So,
Lynn and Randy asking if we saw the Alaskan Airlines comment from above.
One of theirs?
I believe so.
Don't know offhand.
And thanks everybody for the compliments earlier.
On takeoff roll after earnings results yesterday. Sorry, I don't know the significance of that.
I think because remember they had news yesterday of potentially the merger with Hawaiian Airlines, having a lawsuit. And now they just had earnings. They had better than expected Q1 results. So you had one down day, and now you have, well, it wasn't really a down day. I mean, it was down in pre-market and then it rallied. And now you have this. So I think that's what they're getting at. It's just two good days, I guess. I don't know what
so this stock sold. This stock was up yesterday. It sold off almost back to balance on the grounding, which, as STFU is mentioning here, it was only an hour.
Yep.
It actually went green that same day off the back of UAL, and now reporting their earnings here today, taking another leg up here today. That's what's going on with ALK.
Yeah, I think that's what they're getting at. Also, okay, so now that I look at the chart, this is interesting. This is the one I was talking about where they had an imminent golden cross and they were the price is trying to get above the 500-day SMA. We broke out today. Remember looking at this chart yesterday?
Yep, sure do.
Okay. So this is what we were talking about. This is awesome. Thanks for pointing this out, Randy.
And actually, I think that one of the levels that we have here for a potential upside resistance was between 54 and 55. I actually think, wasn't there a weekly or a monthly chart that showed this too? Yeah, here's your monthly chart where we break above the 200-month moving average. You can see the next area of resistance is right in there around that 54, 55 level. We did talk about this yesterday. Yeah. Nice to see it trading up here today.
Yeah. Great mention, Leonard Randy. Thank you.
There you go. All right. That should do it. Let me go ahead. Yeah, the rest of these are just not necessarily notable. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other stocks here. In fact, you know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip over to Trade the Pool. We'll go ahead and take a look at those in there. And that gives me an opportunity to mention that the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. So if you need help getting above that 25K day trading threshold or need more buying power, they are your peeps. Go check them out. 2 minutes until we open here. Let's see what we got going on. We can really quickly roll through some stocks here. Let me see if I see any out there.
AGBA looks like it's
J Blue.
AGBA looks like it's trying to get through. Yes, and I did want to ask Lynn and Randy about J Blue as well. If they thought that we're going to probably see a similar pattern with these airlines. You think J Blue is going to have similar earnings, Lynn and Randy? They report on the 23rd in 5 days.
Let us know on that. What was the other one that you had there, 13? I'll bring it up.
AGBA. It's one of the movers this morning. It looks like it's about ready to try to break this 133 level that it's been trying to get above all pre-market. It popped and then came back in, and then 133, 134 looks like about the level where it's been kind of tempered, resisted. So just watching to see if we get a move out of here pretty soon. We have less than a minute left.
Yep. Former penny stock joining the Dollar Club. Let's get it, folks. Let's get ready for action. The bell is right around the corner. Good luck, everyone. Didn't think that was a joke, but okay.
No. I'm just reading the chat. We have a lot of funny people in chat.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. All right, 10 seconds here, folks. Good luck. Let's get it. Let's see what we got. here today. XPON, by the way, another XPON, that's another stock that popped here in the pre-market, although it's come all the way back in. All right, good luck, folks. Let's do it.
All right, AGBA, what are you going to do?
SOXS, first move here is up. Lynn and Randy saying on JetBlue, not as confident given all the Spirit stuff recently.
Gotcha.
There you go. There's your answer. Thank you,
right.
Lynn and Randy.
Here we go with a AGBA starting to push up out of the open, but it's very slow, so careful.
SOXS here might try layering into this one. First move here was up, although it's taking a little bit of a break here. An SOXS.
Yeah,
love for this to come back more into the VWAP, to be honest.
There is lots of red. Lots of red. Gonna be a little more cautious today, but so far AGBA is working out pretty well.
Definitely going to be a little bit more cautious today, indeed. If market is trying to go higher here.
Turks headed lower. I think we're going to have a date with, oh, geez, I don't know.
I'm going to take a starter here on SOXS. This drops, I'll add.
Maybe 105 in Turks. Sorry.
Say again?
I was just thinking maybe 105 in Turks. Okay, looks like AGBA is trying to push over the pre-market high of 150.
By the way, real quick here, United Airlines is going off the opening print. Wow. Here is AGBA. Is this halted right here, right at the top?
I think it's going to halt right here in just a tick. Because it's just kind of, there we go. It's halted.
There it is. Okay, so there you go. So nice call there too. You were on that. You were absolutely on that one. So here we go. AGBA right to the top there. STFU mentioning that HOLO broke down. All right, did break away from that VWAP there. SOXS trade continuing BNTC. To move higher here. This is good. Let's see if we can get above 41. BNTC, was that what you said?
Mm-hmm. That one's starting to move out of the consolidation from pre-market. This one could be one of the ones where it goes up to VWAP and gets rejected. So this is a good one to watch if you're trying to learn about the VWAP trades. So that's something to watch for. It looks like it still needs to try to make. No, it probably could go up to VWAP. Let's keep a watch on that one if you want. THCH retraced that down move it had in pre-market that we saw all the way back up to VWAP, and now it's getting rejected at VWAP.
Okay, so definitely some action here. Market is still pulling across the board. SPY, Qs, the Dow is actually higher here. I beg your pardon. Let's take a look at this SOXS trade. We got this into the green. Big thing here is that we really don't want to kind of give this back. Unfortunately, I really only got a starter. So one of the things I'd like to do is maybe it's coming back in here. I'm going to stay in it while it's coming back in. Definitely not going to let it go red. Oh, is it really going to come all the way back in? Oh, let's see if we bounce here and give it another shot towards the highs.
Yeah, Jonathan Cooper, you're right. PLC is really heavily shorted. I don't know that this one's going to have more juice like it did yesterday. It might, but I don't know that we're going to see the big moves like we did yesterday. The volume's not great right now, but we'll see. That could change. Thank you for bringing it up.
SOXS on a bit of a pullback here. Just not going to let it go red on me. Market is still pulling.
Great job, Alex. Please on halt. He wants more of that AGBA.
What, did we have a 10-minute halt on that one?
I don't know. That should have been the first one.
Oh, SOXS is going to go red on me. I had it. I should have just taken it off. I was waiting for a bigger move here. Should have taken it off. Didn't end up working. Let's see if we can actually get an add and increase the size here. I think we make another down move here, SOXS.
Well, thanks, Carmen. I hope you enjoy your camping trip. We'll take a look at that one too.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're camping, Carmen, you're doing it right. You're out there in nature having a good old time. I'm assuming that's some type of little vacation for you. Good job. Okay. Enjoy it. Make sure you enjoy it.
So I see what she's saying about RCAT. Like we had a past good 3-day run up over the 500-day SMA, and now it's trying to hold above that. There's also some other lagging indicators, like lagging moving averages that are about to cross to the upside. So this, I kind of like this one for a swing. Not necessarily mean that I'm going to do it, but it's on my radar now. So
RCAT pulled here out of the open. So this is a low print here on RCAT.
Yep. Alex telling us United Airlines up $400 on calls.
SOXS trying to go higher here. BPTH, Crow's got his eye on. Let's take a look at that. BPTH. Okay, so this reclaimed the VWAP. This is at the top end of the range here. Watch BPTH on a break above 582 here. Good call on that reclaim there.
Yeah, it looks like
SMH looks like this is going lower here. Low out of the opening pull there, 209.22, currently at 209.57. So we'll see if that pulls back some more here. That would be good for the SOXS trade.
Looks like Turks may have a date with the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, which I have at 105. So that's something I'll be watching. It looks like it might be trying to turn around now based on how we, the pre-market consolidation that it's in at the moment. But I still think we're headed towards the 200 EMA.
New lows here on the SMH. New lows.
BPTH trying to push right now. Pre-market high is 640. Trying to get to 6.
Okay, so we're above 41 here on the SOXS. This is what we were looking for initially out of the gate. We'll probably trade this several times here today as this continuing to move higher here, looking pretty good on this trade. So we got this one right out of the gate. Looking back and kind of judging the performance of this, there was an excellent opportunity to add that I opted not to take. That was a mistake. We would actually be in real good shape here, and we could be selling partial of this position into this move. There we go. SMH now trying to bounce off this. I'm going to take this off right here. I will absolutely be back to SOXS here today. And if we get a reversal in the market here today, I can always look at SOXL. So 1 for 1 to start the day here. We'll start looking around. Got a little bit of a profit built up. You love to see it. Okay, what did I miss there?
Yeah, I was just I was laughing along with what Jonathan Cooper was saying. SPY not holding at all. No, it's not. I was just looking at SQQQ. It went all the way up to 12. SPY down to 500 again.
SPY, and what did we say at the open here? We expect, or at least I did. I don't want to put words in anyone else's mouth. I expected SPY to test that 500 here. It's doing it right now. This is also going to set up, if we're able to break beneath this, and then all of a sudden 500 actually looks like it's going to be resistance on a upside move, then I can actually start looking again at maybe entering some of these, especially if the market pops back. Good stuff here. Good stuff here to start.
Yeah.
AGBA halted on the way down. So we had a halt, pop, reversal, halt.
Oh, wow. BPTH also halted to the upside.
613. It actually did. So this is the last level that we were looking at here was this 582, broke above that 613 here in your upside halt.
Yep.
SPY still around 500 here. Those charts don't look great.
And we've been saying this all week. You're going to see this where, we're going to get these. Oh, wow. BNTC is pushing now up through VWAP. Where these breakouts and these rallies that you are expecting may not materialize because of the environment we're in right now. A lot of bearishness.
Okay, lower we go here on the SMH. So that SOXL continuing to go lower. Continuing to go higher, excuse me. We'll wait for that to kind of set back up here. Lots of red on the tape. BPTH halt. Yep, that's what we're looking at. BNTC also halted. How's HOLO doing? Okay, so we pulled off of it. We're trying to get back to VWAP, but this looks like this is kind of slowing down.
That looks like it's going lower. That's not a great formation there. But also getting a mention on WISA. This one was just getting hammered in pre-market. I believe it was on offering news. And now it's rallying out of the gate here.
Jay mentioning NVDA and SMCI nasty reversals here. Indeed, this is part of the thesis for looking for SOXS, the chip short. We'll see if this continue breaking down. I'd like to maybe even try to re-add a trade that takes more exposure to the downside of these chips. We get any type of bounce here. Actually getting for a sec, we were getting a bounce there in the SMH, but that bounce didn't really last. NVIDIA here near the lows. Here's your SMCI chart as well. This also near the lows. Both of these stocks look like they're trying to bounce.
A great mention about the Mag 7s, all red except for Meta. It looks like Apple's trying to turn around too right now.
Yeah, it's trying. Now, Apple tried earlier. It's worth noting, though, Apple tried to bounce pretty hard earlier, and that was met with some more sells. We're right at the VWAP, so until we can get above that and hold, we'll see. Apple.
And, we're getting Tesla's just getting super hammered right now.
Yeah, well, that's something that we've actually been watching for a little bit here, too. Tesla now broke beneath 150.
They're in the consolidation.
150. I didn't screw that one up. Okay, good.
They're in the consolidation channel that I have right now that I drew from the consolidation from October and September of 2020. They're in that channel now.
Okay. SPY trying to reclaim 500 right here. DXYZ popping off that 30 handle. God, this is down from 100.
Oh my God. There are so many. So BNTC, BPTH, and AGBA, all three that we've talked about this morning, they're all halted.
There we go.
I guess we can't trade anything, folks. Day's over. Go home. Pat yourself on the back. We did well.
Reddit broke beneath 40 here, by the way. Reddit beneath 40. SMH bouncing now. So here we go on the SMH. Let's see if we can actually bounce up to that VWAP, maybe get rejected there. That would allow us to reload the SOXS trade. If this comes back into VWAP 2, might be looking for another entry there. SMH looks like this is coming down some more. GL, we've talked about this one recently here. It's had a trading this right around the 60 level. This drifting higher here after that short attack. GL 64.69, looking like it's going for a 65 handle.
Yeah, Lynn and Randy, United Airlines, this is just absolutely ripping. What are you thinking we're topping out at? Because I would imagine, based on a trend that I'm seeing here, that we would probably top out somewhere between 56 and 58. What do you got?
Looking at the chart here, obviously this is just the intraday 3-minute chart. Does seem a little heavy here around the 5150 area. Got 5109 as the VWAP. So if that holds, maybe we'll get another leg higher here. Lynn and Randy also mentioning that ALK action off the VWAP. Indeed, this sold beneath it, reclaimed it, and is trying to go higher here. ALK.
Waiting to see if THCH is going to try to take another stab at breaking VWAP. Volume's not looking great right now, and it has a huge wall of shares at 128. But just want to see that volume expand. We could try to push through that VWAP. But that's what I'm looking at with THCH right now. BP,
you're looking at THC. That's what I heard. Wisdom.
Shout out Wisdom. BPTH open up to 650. Same thing with AGBA. That's open again as well. We're moving up.
BPTH battling with its pre-market high here. I've got that at 642. We're right there.
Those two look strong. And now, so BNTC is still suspended.
Halted.
BPTH is halted. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just reading.
BPTH, just making sure that we use the same language itself.
Gotcha. BPTH 674. That's the new intraday high, and beat the pre-market high as well.
SMH is now back to its VWAP here, so I want to see what happens. SOXS almost back down to the VWAP. Let's see if we get another move here, or if that first down move that we already traded was in fact a head fake for the day. SPY holding here above 500, at least so far. Only barely, though. 550 is your price there on the SPY. BNTC is open. Still want to monitor SOXS here. BNTC is open here, pulling back to the VWAP, hugging right at 6 at the moment.
Yeah, pre-market high, it's more after hours, but the high in the pre-market and after hours was 796. That was after the close yesterday. This morning we got as high as looks like 750.
Trying a little more SOXS right here at the VWAP. Now, we were talking earlier about using this as a stop, so let's actually put this into practice here. One of the things that we've done here is we've already traded this, so we have a little bit of a profit to work off of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a stop here right to the bottom of this candle. Let's go, and maybe not, maybe about halfway into this wick, right? We don't want the body. I want to be below the VWAP here, but I don't want to give back all of the gains for the first trade. If I get stopped out here, there is nothing stopping me from rebuying this if we get a setup. I want to see if we bounce here from VWAP. SOXS, second trade here on that. SMH is actually above the VWAP and going higher. So if this doesn't reverse here, I am likely to get stopped out of the second leg. Now, with the stop set, we should be protected. So let's go ahead and flip around to some other stocks here and kind of keep our head in the game. DJT getting mentioned here by Kalu. Kalu, good morning. It's great to see you again. This sold off out of the open, trying to get back to the VWAP, but so far has used that as resistance. I don't think there's any long setup there on BTCH yet.
TIRX, almost to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That's the support level that I was interested in with this one, so something to watch there. AGBA, we might get another push up to, through the intraday highs of 166 here in a little bit if this volume can continue. It's starting to look like it's fading though, so just be careful. THCH, push through that VWAP like I was looking for, and we're headed up towards, looks like 137, 138, where there's another wall to deal with. That was a good trade there.
Bill? Hell yeah, Bill. Hit the thumbs up. That's what I want to hear. Bill, you're the man. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Twitter and YouTube, definitely hit that like and subscribe. We really, really appreciate it. And you guys can support us for free so that we can keep doing this for free. It's a win-win-win.
BNTC has pulled back beneath its VWAP. I'm going to be looking for it to try to find support right up close to where the price is. I think maybe closer to 565, I think would be a better support level for this one. If it falls through that, then we'll have to reassess. But until then, I think that's where we could see some support. I want to see it get back above VWAP before I start taking trades in this one if I do.
Hannah, SOXS, where did you enter again? My second entry here was 4080. I was actually just stopped out. Let me bring up the chart and we can analyze the action here. Okay, so the first entry here was right out of the open. Clear weakness in the semis, clear weakness in the market. I wanted to capitalize on that. Basically just bought it on this move back up. It actually came back in and went red, but did not break the VWAP, so we're not out of this trade yet. And then as it pushed up, I basically sold into that momentum. I also kind of used SMH as a guide to see if it was getting a little, if the sell-off was maybe slowing down, it was maybe finding some of its footing, so I was okay taking it off there. When this sold back off, we took it right at the VWAP or just above the VWAP, and then we set our stop slightly below the VWAP in order to keep us in here. I have been stopped out now, but that doesn't mean that this isn't going to reverse at some point here today. I'm still watching ticker SMH to make my decisions on trading SOXS. So the second trade I took here was a red trade, but I tightened my stop up, so I still overall have profit on the day. Good morning, Ron. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Hope all is going well in the world of Ron.
Kalu, great mention with MLGO. I am looking at that right now. I see how we're trying to push up through here. We got some of these EMAs moving up and trying to cross VWAP here pretty soon, and we're trading above VWAP right now. I'd like to see this get some volume and push through the 268 wall of selling orders, and we could really start to move here. But this is interesting. Thank you for bringing it up. I'm not sure what we're going to get in terms of trading on price action, but the setup looks really nice. I like it.
Setup. And by the way, 268 has some size here on MLGO, and if that gets snapped, I got to think that this probably trades back up or goes through it. We'll see if they end up knifing it. This actually is a pretty decent setup here.
All right, so
VNTR. I don't think I have that one in here unless that was a typo. VTNR. I just got to read it correctly, for heaven's sake. VTNR here. This nice call here, Jonathan. This one moving away from that VWAP. This is looks like this was just about $1 yesterday. $1.25 here today. How's HOLO doing? As mentioned in HOLO, I don't see a lot of hooting and hollering. HOLO next leg down here.
Yeah.
For all of you that watch Seinfeld, every time HOLO trades down like this, I picture Jay Rice sitting at his desk, like when Jerry's collecting money from Elaine on the bet. I picture Jay sitting at his desk, big old stogie in his mouth, just kind of laughing, like, "Yeah, I told you guys this is coming in." I that's just the mental picture I have. Jay, I know you're a Seinfeld fan, so that's completely out of respect.
THCH looks like it's trying to push through this next wall of sell orders at 136. It could be a good trade. I mean, it's got a good chart, a good setup. It's probably eating it right now, but they need a little bit more volume in this one. But the setup looks pretty good. I'd like to see some of these EMAs move through VWAP, which is happening pretty soon. But volume needs to be a little bit better than this right now.
And you want to beat my latex sales. This chat's awesome. If you guys are Seinfeld fans, you guys got extra bonus points. All of you here today. THCH, we were just talking about, we did break out of that consolidation area. This move to me measures up to 154 here. That's the top end of the pre-market range there.
BPTH also pushing here right now, trying to get up to 7. It is, I have a level at right there that it's trying to get up to and through. After that, 750 is the next level I have. This is BPTH. This one has
that 640. That 640 seller got absolutely wrecked, and this is going higher here. SMH, maybe I was a little too early on that second SOXL. SMH looks like this might be rolling over here. Let's take a look at what the SOXS is doing. Maybe we cross through VWAP here again. Let's see. Do we try this again? Do we try our luck again? Why not? Try it right here. Let's see if we actually make another down move here on the SMH. Entry on this one, by the way, 40.63. So I actually got lower entry on this one than I did on that second trade.
Jay Rice, you're absolutely right. And that was a really fun trade too. I think that one was ripping up over several days. That was such a fun stock to trade. He's talking about VFS.
Take a look at that here real quick. Don't have my stop set in SOXS, so I'm definitely going to monitor. But I tell you what, this daily chart looks awful. This thing fell, lazy kind of bounce, and rolled over again and went lower. This not looking good here, ticker VFS. I remember the trade, and I remember how fun that was. I'm okay staying away from it. SOXS through its VWAP. Can we keep moving here? SMH coming down to the VWAP. I've got that at 209.37. Current price at SMH 209.58. So maybe we get a little bit of a bounce here.
Speaking of bounces, TIRX might be at the level. It's right close to the 200 EMA that I was talking about earlier. This is where I would be looking for a bounce. So I'm just curious to see if we start to reverse here or not.
Okay, TIRX. Let me actually back out a little bit here.
THCH is trying to push.
Really quickly on that TIRX, I think you were spot on with your spot there, by the way. What was the other one? The next stock here, sorry?
The pseudo weed stock, THCH.
The pseudo weed stock, THCH.
So that one's moved up through that supply that we were talking about, that big old wall of sell orders. The next one it's got to get through now is at 142. Just slowly making its way up. It's got to break that 155 pre-market high. No guarantee that it gets there. It's been a very slow mover, but when it needs to, the volume does come through.
Okay. THCH, there we go. We're starting to break here. THCH 139. 13, can you drive the boat for just 1 sec?
Sure. Let's go, everybody. All right, so THCH still moving up, looking for that 142 wall to fall. Let's look at some of these other ones. MLGO looks like that made a new high, came back in slightly, but this has EMAs coming up to VWAP. If they cross those, that might be a good. Oh, there's a little bit of a pull. It might be a good signal that this is going higher if we get those EMA crossings combined with volume. AGBA, this one just made a high, and then it came right back down to where that that pre-market consolidation is. So if we continue down with AGBA and it can't find support in this consolidated area from pre-market, then I would be looking at 85 cents. That's where the 65 EMA is. And then if that fails, then 60 cents, which is where the 200 EMA is on the 5-minute chart. And it looks like we're breaking down pretty good here now with AGBA. So that was a good morning trade, and now I don't want to be in this at all. What do you guys have for me? I'll start.
I'm back. That's what I got for you.
All right. I was just
All
going
right.
to take a look at Jonathan Cooper's VTNR is 20% short. I'm going to look at that if you want to look at something else.
Real quick here, SMH now has broken through the VWAP again to the downside here. So this trade, this SOXS trade working, the third trade here is working so far. At this point now with the stops, we're going to do what we've talked about before. We're going to make sure that this doesn't go red on us here. Let me go ahead and put that stop in there. We're actually going to raise this stop. We're going to make sure that we can get gains booked in that. If this breaks through 41 and continues to go higher, guess what? We're going to raise our stop again. So we're going to try and trade this as stress-free as possible here today. Coming back in, do I get stopped out here? We will see. We'll get stopped out with a gain on this one, and we'll be 2 for 3 here today. There we go, stopped out with a gain. We'll wait for this to set up again.
Jonathan Cooper, thanks for VTNR. I do see what you're talking about with the short squeeze here. This is awesome. I do like to see those high days to cover with combined with high, short interest. So this is pretty cool. I don't know how much higher this rips, but so far it's looking pretty good, and it looks like it may want to set up here to take it higher today.
Look at GL here, Globe Life, this big rip. This is actually one of the biggest moves that we've seen to the upside since that plunge. GL here, $67.
Did
anyone take the 60 calls? Did anyone take the 60 calls, by the way, when we were first talking about this?
I didn't. Didn't Buffett just offload this, though?
You mean Warren?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Real quick here, Jay Rice saying NVIDIA, crazy volatility, now green. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Remember, we've been, or at least I have been trading the volatility here in the chips. You're right about that. And NVIDIA actually looked like this is trying to push higher here. This is one of the volatility with these stocks is one of the reasons why I'm quick on the trigger with the buys and the sells. The other thing is that with those ETFs, I'm going to be able to get in and out of that without issue here today. So easier to trade than some of these micro caps. That's why we're targeting them here today.
So Jay Summers, awesome on BPTH. I just noticed that one had ripped past 7 and came back in. So awesome trade there. This is looking like it's going to need to have support at about 640 to about 640 is where I'd like to see support, and we're almost there. So if this falls through that, then we could see some more downside if it doesn't get support. BNTC, we're starting to get another push through VWAP here, and it's really starting to take off. There could be some scalping here if you guys want to take a look at that one. That's BNTC. And I saw somebody else saying something else that was okay, maybe not.
Lion Atlas, my guy out here. I took the 65 call when GL really first started coming in. You're in the money now. You should be printing. No wonder you're so excited. You're having a really good morning over there, Lion. You love to see it. 13, to your point here about BNTC, this intraday formation here looks like this is trying to push higher. One of the other trades that I'm still watching here is obviously the SMH. That bounce that Jay was just talking about with respect to NVIDIA looks like that's still volatile here. This still kind of flirting with its VWAP. If we take a look at the trading instrument that we're using here in SOXS, looks like this is still holding its VWAP too. I'm not sure that this is going to be done yet here today.
TIRX, this is really working well off that 200 EMA. It's a nice clean bounce. So far, so good.
XPON, this was Lynn and Randy had mentioned this in the pre-market. I'm sorry for running you over there, 13. I'll get you back in here in a sec. XPON, this traded up in the pre-market above 3, came all the way back down almost to 2. Now it's actually reclaimed its VWAP. Volume is expanding here, ticker XPON.
THCH is still going higher. It chewed through that wall that I was talking about. The next one is 146 and 148. There are a lot of shares to be sold right there. So if we chew through that, then this thing could really get going, because this is going to be up near the top of the pre-market high. So this is really interesting with THCH. No guarantee this is going to absolutely rip like crazy, but if the volume comes in and takes out those walls, it could.
UNH here mentioned by Jay Rice. UNH almost 500 here. We actually took a look at this one yesterday. This broke down back beneath the channel that we had flagged. from, I think there was several days prior. We're actually moving away from that now. I think the 500 test years coming. Jay, this is a good call.
All those movers that we were talking about this morning, they're all coming back in. AGBA halted to the downside. BPTH now kind of well, it's trying to find support at that level I was talking about at 640. So that's what's going on with that one. BNTC, after it broke out through VWAP, came right back in and down to the 200 EMA on the 5
Look at that knife. Look at that knife. That is the type of stuff that I am looking to avoid here today. Okay. Real good action here in the first half hour. But guess what, folks? It is time for our special guest. Special guest in the back. Can I get a thumbs up letting me know that you're ready? Bang. We're ready. We are proud to bring on Fausto Puglisi, CEO of CTU, Cyber Trading University. Fausto, how are you doing this morning, my man?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Ryan? Good to see you all.
Good to see you as well. I'll tell you what, we are doing good here. At least me personally, I was looking for a down move out of the open here in some of the semis. We were able to get that and trade that using SOXS. But you're here, and I'm excited to ask you how you're doing. What are you seeing here this morning?
Well, I can't help listening to you guys because it's funny that a lot of the stocks that we're trading right now in our trading room is some of the ones that you bring up. I want to bring up really quick. You guys are talking about the THCH, and I mean, Ryan, you've been you've seen what we've done on our show. We specifically focus on level 3 and level 4 trading, and there's actually about 141,000 share seller right now at 147, and that's one of the reasons why it's having a tough time doing it. If you see what happened around 7:15 in the morning. And you see what happened around 8 o'clock, and it kind of slingshot up and it came right back down. There's this big seller that keeps holding it, and it looks like he just showed up about at 9:55 on level 4. It looks like one of the big things I kind of also show people a little bit more is if you ever watched any of my videos, I do a lot of training on NASDAQ and teach NASDAQ Book Viewer, basically how to trade on the exchange. And, that's one of the ECNs that we use to have a seat on the exchange. A lot of people have that. And they have big orders out there right now. So it's going to have a tough time breaking it. But that was a great call. It's funny. A lot of stocks you guys are looking at is exactly what we're looking at. And look forward to talking to.
Well, that's the thing, Fausto. I mean, our entire show here is about what's moving. And it doesn't matter if it's going to be a mega cap that everyone knows about like NVIDIA or some micro cap like THCH. You show me a setup, we'll try and trade it. That is for sure. So we're all about that. The fact that you're coming on here saying, hey, we're looking at the same things, that tells me that 13 and I have a pretty good eye on what's actually going on here. So for those of the viewers here that don't know, can you explain a little bit about CTU and what you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm one of the original day traders that started back in the early 90s. I started one of the first schools in the industry. Basically I live here in New York. I was trained by some of the best traders in the world. And, some of them even live in my town still. So you're not going to really beat them. But the thing is, with today's rules, you don't have to be licensed like you used to anymore. So and now what's happening, a lot of that technology that we use as market makers, have access to it now, like the Benzinga, just having the news on that. Mm-hmm. But more or less, we used to trade on Instinet machines. Some of you now have access to level 2, which by the way is a little obsolete now. It's more of using the ECNs out there, and seeing where those orders are, and and knowing exactly where like BATS and NASDAQ and EGGX and New York Stock Exchange, all those orders are, which you have access to. So we kind of more focused mainly on order flow, money management, learning how to stop losing, which is everyone's biggest problem.
Yep.
I mean, listen, you got to learn how to lose first before you can win. So that's one of
I'm so glad that you said that. I have been saying that for years. I had a more experienced trader tell me that when I was first getting into the business. I looked at him like he was crazy. I did not understand what he was saying. And then once I got into it, it became extremely apparent. Absolutely love hearing you tell people that.
Yeah, that's basically what you have to focus. You got to learn how to do that. And it just, listen, it just takes time, and it's not a full-time job. You just make your days pay, and that's it. But I think one of the biggest issues I think people have is they keep focusing on the fabulous sevens. They keep focusing on the brand names. I mean, I know we're in earnings, and a lot of them are coming out soon, but there's just so much. There's 20,000 stocks out there they're trading, and you guys are making some good call outs on your trades, and and it seems like we all heard on that, because it's all about, we don't care what we trade, we just want to risk the least amount of money as possible to high amount of reward. That's why we always focus on something that I was trained, it's called the 3 T's: tradable, trend, and trap. You'll understand those 3 things. Tradable is, basically money management, good spread, good volatility. You can get in and out of it. Trend is, understanding the chart, what the pattern is, if it's continuing. And, trap is, don't focus too much on the past. Because you got to make sure the past is indicative of the future. So the only way you have the future is seeing those same orders that were in the past are out there now. And I think that's where a lot of people are not seeing that more. And, that's why, I've been, been known for that. And that's why I kind of preach that. And I'll be happy to, like I said, I'm going to actually be doing an event later at 12 o'clock if anybody wants to see that a little bit more.
How can they find that, Fausto?
Yeah, so if anyone's interested, like I said, I'm doing an event at 12 o'clock today. I'll put the link in here if anyone's interested. www.ctu.co. Free.
And if that link doesn't show up because it's a link, let me know. You can email it and I will post it for you, because I think that there might be some link rules with the stream. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. It's I don't know if you could see it, but it's ctu.co/free.
I don't. It actually, I appreciate you reading it out. If you want to email it to me, I'll go ahead and post it here. 13, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think you had a question.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Fausto, I have rules in place for when, in certain environments like the one we're in, when it comes to trading, so that I can manage my downside risk, but also know when to take profit should something move more than I was expecting it to. I was just curious, what rules do you have for yourself and for what you do over at Cyber Trading University that you teach other folks that you could probably tell us about? Do you have rules for how to manage risk and know when to take profits in environments like this?
Yeah, so like one of the big things that we kind of do is like we do a lot of coaching, one-on-one coaching. So sometimes you're in a group, like you have a lot of people here, and everybody has a different, handicaps that need help with, So one of them is basically with the money management, we have journals. And, one of the big things for a new trader, you got to learn how to trade, and you have to trade, and you got to trade small lots. So you start trading small lots, kind of get used to it, and seeing where you're making your money, where you're losing money, and you'll see that a lot of it has to do with, being too aggressive, too greedy, and just basically learn from it. Another issue people have is like, they're not trading. You know what I mean? Like if you're not trading, you're not going to learn. If you stuck on demo mode for 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks as a beginner, you obviously, you're a deer in the headlights. So I kind of show everyone, you got to trade. Even if you trade one share of stock, like I joke around, tell people just buy one share. People's like, how are you going to make money with that? That's not the point. The point is you got to be in the game. But a lot of it's money management, volatility, spread. Like there's some stocks that, that you might be calling out, like some people or anyone calling out. If you, like that first T is like you were talking money management. If that stock doesn't have a good spread, if you're on the wrong side and you want to get out of it, you can get crushed. You know what I mean? Like, because just because you're getting in it doesn't mean that there are orders out there that people want to sell to you. So sometimes they have this misconception. They look at the spread on the level 1 version and they say, oh, like for example, it's making a run right now, INDO. You can look it up. Nice little stocks up 18%. Nice little push. It was a stock that we traded a couple of days ago, went from like 3 to 650. The issue is right now is that it's, some people might not know this, but it has you might think it has like a 2-cent spread, but it really has like a 10-cent spread. 10 cents on 1,000 shares, $100. That means if you to get into it, if you're wrong, you're going to lose $100 immediately on 1,000 shares. And that's, so that's where the tradable and non-tradable theory comes in, if that makes sense. That's about 50% of the failure rate of the industry. People get into it.
Yeah, that makes total sense here. Great question, 13. Real quick, we're getting a report that the link works, Fausto, so you should be all set there. Good stuff here. Lynn and Randy saying the link does work. So yep. Awesome.
Yeah, like at 12 o'clock, like I said, I'll show everybody. I'm going to be doing a live event, a detail about what is level 3 and level 4, how market makers really trade, some of the things that's just going to help you enhance some of the tools that you guys are talking about, stocks that you're talking about. But like, why is it going up? Like who's running it up? And seeing those 50, 100, 300,000 share orders, you know what I mean? Because that's really what makes resistance levels. And when you see a resistance level, you know, the way you had no resistance level is, okay, well, why did it go back down? Like you were just bringing up the, was the stock that we were just looking at?
INDO?
The THCH.
Oh, TCH.
Sure.
Yeah. So so it tried to go back up, but that seller right now that I'm seeing right now, that I don't know if you guys see this, but on level 4, he was at 147. Now he did something called ladder down. So he just lowered his offer and he went from, let me see what he did right here. He basically dropped just now from 148, actually just dropped down to 142. Actually 141. It's got about 145,000 shares. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think any of us are trading 145,000 shares. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Somebody's out there. So I would rather know if he's out there, knowing that I'm not going to be competing against him. And that's what you have to look at.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
yeah, so that's basically how we kind of trade the market. Just follow order flow when it comes to it.
And real quick here, just to kind of interject, SMH now pushing away from the VWAP. So this one, no setup here in SOXS. We would be trading SOXL to the upside in this case. I'll see when this move kind of dries up. Maybe we'll look for entry on that regression. Yeah, Fausto, you know, one of the things that you were talking about just a second ago is trading small lots, and I definitely a big fan of that. I'm actually a fan. If there's a stock that I want to force myself to watch, sometimes I'll just buy a couple of shares or 100 shares, depending on the price, and it puts it in my brokerage, and it forces me to take a look at that, and it forces me to come up with a plan, and it forces me to look at all of the different variables. I think that that's actually really, really good advice. The other thing I'll say about trading smaller lots is I actually think this gives you a slightly better experience than paper trading. So I would also agree with you. I would say that is definitely a route to go, especially when you're learning. It's way more important to learn the fundamentals than to be worried about the P&L right at the open there.
Yeah, Ryan, like you got to remember that you're not going to, like, paper trading is only, the purpose why you only paper trade, what we teach, is more or less just get comfortable with the platform. You know, just understand where the windows are and so on. And when you hit the buy button, you know, you could see all the lights blink and you could see where I bought it and it did this, that. But it doesn't really, it's not going to help you trade. You know what I mean? You're better off trading one share of stock than trade nothing. And like you said, you start seeing it on, now you start going on your journal. Now you're seeing it on your trader's account and stuff like that. You're not going to lose anything. You're not going to make anything. Listen, when I started, we had to pay $20, $25 a ticket. So like to go out there and trade one share, it's like, I'm already down $50. You know what I mean? I'm losing money to do that trade. Now it doesn't cost anything. So like, why not do it? You know what I mean? Like, just don't be scared. If you're scared to do one share, you shouldn't be trading at all, you know, but you should be doing it. And the goal is that now you should just see that you're consistent. Like, you know, you're starting to see like you're doing well. And like, listen, like 50 shares, 100 shares, you know, you really can't even like lose that much too on that, but it does start getting intense. But as you get better at it and you progress, then like, you know, with our journals, how we teach our traders, then like, you know, when you start seeing your graph going up and you're consistent, then you go to 200 shares, then you go to 500 shares, you know, then you can go to 1,000. But don't, you know, a mistake, and I think 13, you were telling you to bring this up, and that was, I forgot to mention this, is that eventually you're going to find your sweet spot, because sometimes you can't trade too much. And just because you have like X amount of money in your account doesn't mean like you can go out there and say, oh, but this stock, TIRX, you know, is on a big move, but it's down. You know, I got $20,000 in my account. I could buy 10,000 shares of it. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. 1,000 shares on this is the same 1,000 you would buy on like Eli Lilly. You know, you just don't trade this because, oh, I got this much money in my account. And you also don't want to trade options in a way because, well, I can't afford the stock, but I can afford it in an option play. That's another big mistake, you know, misconception people made, you know?
Okay. Real good stuff there, Fausto. I went ahead and threw that link in the chat. Appreciate you emailing me. We do have a question here about that presentation before we get you out of here. And again, I cannot thank you enough for your time here today. Hannah's asking here, would you say it's an advanced webinar you're doing or a beginner? What type of audience is appropriate for the webinar you're doing today?
So let me tell you something. Everybody's a beginner to me. Okay, everyone's a beginner to me. I mean, I train there. I train mutual fund people that have been in there. They just don't understand the trading concept of it. So don't ever think that you know, that if you're an advanced or beginner, I would say everybody's going to be a beginner in there. There are some people that think they're advanced, have been trading for a while, but if they're there, that means they're not doing well. You know what I mean? So, and plus, good traders never stop learning.
That's
You know,
right.
I mean, Ryan's been there. I mean, 13 ounces, you haven't been in there and you see it. But listen, you'll learn something. You'll be like, if it gives you an edge, why not? I mean, I listen to people all the time. I had just last week, I had Tom Sosnoff, the founder of Thinkorswim, on CTU. I mean, we're good friends. I mean, I train a lot of their customers in the stock trading. He learned something, you know what I mean? Like, it's like him, like, what? Yeah, like he didn't, you know, like we always learn something back and forth. So don't ever think that you're ever too beginnerish. It's never too late.
Perfect. Lynn and Randy are saying, Fausto, do you use Benzinga Pro?
Yeah, we use Benzinga. Actually, we don't use too many platforms out there, but Benzinga is one of the only ones we use. We use Benzinga for our news service. We use for charting, and then we use level 3 quotes, and then mainly your platform that your brokerage firm offers you. We don't work for any brokerage firm. We don't have no you know, bias towards anyone, but you got to be careful. Some brokerage firms, because listen, everybody's from different parts of the world, right? Certain brokerage firms require, you know, you're only limited to what your country allows you. Like we have a lot of people from Canada, and so people are like, how do I get, you know, this platform? Like, unfortunately, it's not all for your neighborhood. So, you know, we know which ones are more geared for the client, depending on where you're coming from. But believe it or not, a lot of you are really using the wrong platform for trading. Some of them still stuck on these online brokers, and I know we don't like a change, but you know what? You want to go racing, you can't do it on a Ford Pinto. You know what I mean? You got to be able. You can't do it on a bicycle. You can't do it on a truck. There's certain brokerage firms that give you access, and the thing is, a lot of them won't tell you about it because, you know, the way. I mean, you know, 13, you probably know this from trading for a while. They trade against us. You know, they want you to lose because because some of these brokerage firms are hedging against you, and they're just like kind of playing the casino side. They're trading the other side, and sometimes they won't give you what's called direct access trading, where you get to see your order. Like when I train my traders, I mean, you're going to see, like, even today, you'll see a live order out there. Like, wait a minute, that's you, Fausto? Yeah, that could be you too. Online brokers don't tell you that. They don't give you that access that you can place live orders in the market. You have a seat on the exchange. Back in the day, we used to pay millions of dollars to have a seat on the exchange. Now you don't have to do that. And I think that just that alone pays for itself, you know? Yeah. And that's where it comes in. Okay,
that is awesome and in-depth. Fausto, amazing. Good luck on your presentation here today. I will say I've sat in, like Fausto mentioned, I've sat in on his presentations, and I completely agree with him. I come from the exact same school. You're always learning. You're always trying to put more tools in your toolbox. So definitely check it out. Fausto, any parting comments here? Words of wisdom, stocks you're looking at, anything?
Yeah, so listen, there are a couple of stocks that are moving right now. We're looking at CLSK right now. That's in the trading room. CLSK has been on a really big pop right now. It took a big hit from 25 down to 15. It's got big support levels right now. There's some big buyers that keep bidding it up right now. That's been moving up pretty nicely as a day trade. Remember, once again, you know, we trade the industry sometimes. Sometimes it's the flavor of the week. It could be, you know, gold was pretty big. I did a couple of good YouTube videos on metals. Some people think you got to trade, you know, only gold, but there's a lot of gold. PASSA, GDX, SLV. I mean, that is something. Then there are, you know, there's the Bitcoin frenzy. So there's a lot of stocks. You don't got to trade Bitcoin to think that you can join on it when it was a big rally. There's CLSK. There's the ETFs. I did a big, you know, I was on NASDAQ talking about the ETF that came out on it, you know, in November. You should definitely watch that video and you can see what ended up happening. Coin did really well. You know, Coinbase, the stock.
COIN, yep.
You know, all these things rallied from it. But are they moving now? Listen, every day is a new adventure. Just 2 weeks ago, pot stocks were running. You know what I mean? Yep. So, I mean, like, you know, it's so funny. Like, you'll hear how you guys talk about it and you'll find out our parts. We just heard to where they are. So it's all, you know, the words of wisdom is more or less surround yourself with good traders, you know, and a good group. And, everyone's more than welcome to see what we do in our group too. But, and just, and you learn from other traders, you know what I mean? It's not about me. Like, I don't tell anybody what to buy and sell because it's illegal to do that unless you're licensed, but we teach you how to think for yourself. And because you got to hit the button at the end of the day, even if it wasn't,
That's right.
You got to hit the button. So you just got to know, you just got to surround yourself with a good group of traders that you feel comfortable with in your age group that you can adapt to, and you get along with it. But that's more of the wisdom. And you know what? You're happy to whenever you guys want to come back. I'd love to tell you guys we're moving in the market. But you'll see, as much as you guys are looking at it, we're looking at it, which might look at a little different perspective as we look at order flow. You might be looking at on the VWAP and the indicator and stuff, but we're pretty much on the same page.
Yeah, and that's why we have a market.
That is exactly right. Thank you, 13. Okay, Fausto, really, really good stuff today. I got to be honest, I can't wait to have you back. We'll keep doing this. Love what you're doing over at CTU, and really love that you kind of confirmed our targets here today. So good luck on your webinar here today. Can't wait to see you again.
Thanks for having me, and look forward to coming back.
All right, take care. That is Fausto Puglisi, CEO of Cyber Trading University. I'll go ahead and throw that link in the chat one more time here. Smash up the like for our guy, Fausto. Remember, one of the things he's saying, learn some of the fundamentals. Learn how to do it first. There's going to be plenty of time to make money later. Learn the fundamentals. Surround yourself with smarter traders. I can't think of much better advice than that.
Oh, wow. Curtis with those diamond hands. He's holding TLSK since 22. And DJT is also trying to push up to 29. That's the next level I have in DJT.
I wasn't even paying attention to this while we were talking to him. How about this huge reversal here off that 24 level?
Yeah, it's been ripping quite handily, hasn't it? So now we're coming up to 29. After that, 30 would be, it's only $1 away after that, but 30 would be the next level that I have afterwards. And then we're talking 33.50.
Okay. DJT. Okay. While we were doing that too, I was also kind of flipping around here to a bunch of different stocks that are moving. I was also taking a look at the SMH here. One of the things that I'm really, really happy about in terms of today's trade is we really traded the biggest move there. The only way we could have done this better, at least so far, would have been to accurately time the reversal and then hit SOXL on the way back up. That is much more difficult. I'm making it sound a lot easier than it actually is here. This is good, though. I'm going to keep watching this throughout the course of the day. Taking a look at the market here, SPY back up to that 501. It did bounce off that 500 level. We said we expected a test of that today. We got that. So far, we're bouncing. We'll see if we end up, or if we are able to end up going green here. Did you have 505 as your upside target this morning, 13?
That was one of my levels for a SPY.
That's what I was referring to. Yeah. Sorry.
No worries. By the way, DJT broke through 29 and is trying to move up to 30. Who was it that mentioned that? Somebody was talking about 925 STFU. Yeah, 29.25. Yeah, I saw it move up to there, and then it just had a big pop above that. So definitely was a level to get over, and I think they had the volume to push through that. So yeah, 29.25. That also seemed to be a small level there too.
I definitely think there's some resistance here at 30.
Yeah.
If we end up getting up there, we'll see. DJT, this big ripper here off that 24 bottom there. Beg your pardon. Lion Atlas still looking at GL. Oops, brought up the wrong ticker here. Still looking at GL. Man, those calls are cranking, Lion. You were doing really, really well here. GL looks like this did kind of stop its first impulse move. The selling we're actually building above the VWAP here, so that's really good to see. See if we get a curl and a re-challenge of those intraday highs here. Ticker GL.
Yeah, you'd think that the pot stocks would be ripping on the nationally recognized holiday this weekend, but I'm going to call you smart guy instead of your handle because I like it better.
Okay, this is what you're referring to. I like that, 13. I like what you did there. I'm going to call you smart guy. And by the way, Jay, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I wanted to be respectful of our guest, and I didn't want to interrupt him. But when he started talking about the pot stock sector, I wanted to be like, and we had a guy in our community calling the short, literally almost perfectly at the top. I wanted to do that, but out of respect for the guest, I wanted to let him finish. So sorry, I couldn't give you your flowers there. We will give you a register ring instead.
All right. Well, CLSK got as high as 1625, and it looks like it's not sure what it's going to do next. So we might put in a neutral candle here on the 5-minute chart, and then we'll have to see what it does.
We should have asked Fausto what the level 3 and level 4 said on that. I kid. Check out his webinar. He should be able to teach you about that. DJT here ripping to the highs, 29.50. We'll see if it stops there. Looking around. Netflix. Doesn't Netflix have earnings tonight?
Yes.
Let me double check that. Yes, it is earnings after hours today on Netflix, 418. Netflix dip out of the open here to 607, 10-point reversal, almost a 10-point reversal off those lows here. Netflix, remember, earnings coming later tonight. That daily chart looks strong.
I think we're about to get 30 in DJT. I should have asked Fausto what he thought about the spread in DJT.
Yeah, it seems to change depending on which way the wind's blowing.
Yeah.
Jay Wild, good morning. We don't take attendance here, so I didn't see it. You're not late. Good to have you here. Hopefully everything's going well. Stay focused. Good morning. Hope you guys are printing. Stay focused. We were on the semis today. We were using SMH as our guide to then trade SOXS, and SOXL went 2 for 3 on SOXS trades here today. At this point, SMH looks like it's kind of settling into a range here. Volume's dropping a little bit, so I'm actually waiting for another setup should we get that. Hopefully you're doing well. And let me ask you, stay focused. What are you looking at today? Stay green, stay safe, and stay focused. One of my favorite sayings.
Yeah, and CLSK continuing to push up after that candle that I just mentioned was a bit neutral. Now it's decided, well, let's go. Why not go higher? THCH volume's pretty low, but it's starting to curl. To Fausto's point, that big wall of sell orders at 142, 141, we're going to need some pretty significant volume in order to eat through that. So we might not get through that. You just have to watch the volume on that for expansion. Then there might be some hope. But for now, I'm not too enthusiastic about it.
DJT getting a ton of mentions here in the chat. That volume's still expanding. DJT printing above 31 now. A big 7-point move here, peak to trough DJT. This going up to that next level here that I've got this consolidation here about 32.5, ticker DJT.
My next upside target is 33.40.
33.40. Okay, stay focused. Saying focused on the semis, 2 for 2 this morning. We looked at the same thing. You actually did a slightly better job pivoting to my midday prep. That's awesome. Does that include working out the body as well as the mind? Good stuff.
I mean, gains are gains, my man.
Hannah saying, Ryan, you guys are so respectful to one another. It is incredibly refreshing and not typical from other YouTubers. Well, Hannah, I do have a comment on that. One of the things that we set out to do here from the very beginning was to make things different from what people are used to. If you folks want to see people trading massive positions and talking about all of the different Lamborghinis and all of the different colors that you can buy, there are plenty of YouTube channels out there. Knock yourself out. What we're trying to do here is focused on a process approach that you can repeat. We recognize that our community and our peers are helpful. These are not people that we should be competing with. These are people we should be learning with. Our guest today here just told you to surround yourself with smarter traders than you so that you can raise the tide for everyone. That is our ethos here. And on a side note here, real quick, and I don't mean to take shots at YouTubers, but we're going to take a small one here. Both 13 and I have worked in a variety of different jobs where we've had to deal with a variety of different people. We have life experiences that we bring to what we do now. And some of those experiences do not include being rude to people. I like to just kind of avoid all of that and keep the atmosphere as happy and as educational as possible. So I really appreciate your comment, Hannah. Welcome.
Kalu, I can't give advice, man. But I'm not even sure which stock it is. If you're talking about DJT, I mean that's one I really wouldn't want to even give an opinion on, because this thing could just do whatever it wants. I would just here's what I would personally do is just use the levels that you've made by looking to the left, see where the price action's been, and decide which level looks the best to you. And pay yourself on the way up. That's what I would do. But I can't give any advice as to where you want to exit.
Crow saying, Ryan, I could picture you as a sports commentator. Don't even be teasing me, Crow. That is a dream job outside of what I currently do. I feel like I have a dream job right now, but man, oh man, if I was able to comment on sports, oh, that would be sweet. Stay focused saying 13. Do you think SPY will break 503.92? Obviously on the upside move there.
I'm assuming you're talking about close to the high we put in yesterday when we after we tested the lows for the first time. I'm looking at a 5-minute chart and I see that we opened, went lower, found support just under 500, probably about under 499, and then just came back up and stopped at about, what is this? About 504. So I think that's what you're referring to. I am personally not seeing as much upside as I'm seeing downside. So I really couldn't say. I don't believe we will. I think if anything, we'll probably get halfway through 503 before we find resistance and turn around.
Really good synopsis there. Really good synopsis there, team.
Thanks. I'm just in the camp that I don't think that we're going to get a whole lot of upside, and I could be wrong about that because everybody seems to be turning bearish, and we could squeeze them out. But for me right now, because we haven't been, if you look at like a smaller time frame chart and look at the previous trading days, it's just sideways and down mostly. The recovery isn't very strong. We're not getting back up above and holding levels. Like if you look at what's been happening with the 505 level for the past several days, we get above it briefly, and then we come back right down underneath it. So that's telling me that there's not a whole lot of upside strength. People want to kind of take profits and get out of this and wait for the next big dip to buy. That's just what my read is, though.
BNTC. Sorry, go ahead.
DJF 503 was upside resistance on SPY yesterday. Yeah, absolutely.
And it is again here today, at least so far. BNTC here being mentioned by RB. This actually looks like maybe this has kind of bottomed out. Really no volume to speak of yet. Nothing terribly important here. That can change in a heartbeat. Watch a move on volume through that VWAP at 590. So this is an interesting question here. M season. I'll take a stab at this and then I'll turn it over to 13. I don't even know what his opinion on this is, so we may have a different opinion. Here's what I'll say. So I've been there. I've been there. My first two accounts, the first one I started with $500. I thought I was going to become a millionaire trading pot stocks. And as you would guess, I blew that account up. Second account that I started with had $1,000. I was like, I should have a twice better opportunity here, starting with twice the money. Yeah, false. That account got blown up. My third one started with $2,000. That's the one that I'm currently on and I've been working on for years here. One of the things that I'll say is that when I was under that 25K threshold that you speak of, I thought the same way you did. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use these day trades tactically. I'm going to use them up all week. We're going to slowly build our account value that way. And I was trying to do that, but then I realized that I would get frustrated when I would burn a day trade on a trade that didn't work. And as you just heard Fausto say earlier, you have to learn how to lose. And so one of the things that I kind of naturally did is I started saving those day trades for use these only in the worst case scenario, only when you can't take any more pain, only when you make a mistake. And that did two things for me. Number one, that made me focus a little bit more on the actual trading plan. I didn't feel the need to day trade every single day. If something was decent or working, I could hold that overnight into the next day, then not burn a day trade, and then keep that in my quiver, if you will, or in your holster, whatever you prefer there. And then the other thing is that it made me just feel more comfortable. I didn't feel this pressing need to use something up, and then I've maybe wasted some of my time. So there's definitely some strategy here to this. I would say use those tactically and use those to protect your capital, because that's always going to be the number one thing, especially for new traders. Protect your capital. Make sure that you can live to fight another day the next day.
I personally think that he's got the right mentality for this because he's already asking about rules that he's trying to set for himself.
Thank you. Good point.
And that's, I think, a really indicative of somebody who's absolutely serious about this and looking to make this a real thing that they're going to end up doing for the long term. One of the things that I found success with is setting rules for myself so that if something doesn't go the way that I was expecting it to, that I have the rule to execute, and it will just either get me out of the trade or take profit, whatever the rule says that it needs to do should that event happen. So I think that the fact that you're actually just already setting up rules for yourself is great. As far as the one trade a day, 3 days a week, I think that's a good starting point. You may want to change that as you get more comfortable with that, in order to maximize your profitability. But the fact that you're starting there, I think that's a good starting point. Until you get more comfortable, I would probably just say, hey, stick with what's working for you. And if you want to take the next step up and maybe make 2 trades a day for 4 days a week, you can try that. But the fact that you're taking a cautious approach and you're setting rules for yourself means to me that I think you're going to have some great success in the future. So keep that up and just take it a step at a time.
Really, really well said there, 13. I'm going to handle a couple of more questions here real quick. Hannah, do you two do a pre-market watch list live? Yes, we actually take a look at the SPY first. We'll actually start the morning off with a couple of jokes. I try to get some smiles on some faces, but then we take a look at the SPY. We often take a look at the stocks that are going to gap. These stocks can be high-price stocks like NVIDIA, or they could be $1 things like BPTH or BNTC, whichever one is in the dollar handle there. We'll run down the list of stocks that look to be in play. We'll observe if there are any catalysts, maybe highlight some key levels, and then we'll take some requests here from the chat. Once the market opens, we react to what we see. Remember what Fausto said earlier, every day is a new adventure, and we absolutely treat it as such. So yes, we absolutely do that. Do you mainly get on after you've created your watch list individually? I joke around and I say that 13 and I have a pre-show fist fight where we're basically discussing what we're going to talk out of the open. I don't want to have dead air and a lot of awkwardness right around the start of the show. I've noticed that that's not a good way to do it. But anything that we discuss, we then turn into our watch list that we share prior to the open. Really good question. Yeah. Jay Breed saying, hi, Blackhawks aren't in the playoffs. Indeed. But you know what, Jay Breed? I don't think that's going to last very long because this season offered a lot of encouragement and there is more help coming. Real quickly, you want a really early call on a prediction? Remember that contract Patrick Kane signed in Detroit? That was a 1-year deal. I think he finishes his career here in Chicago and retires a Blackhawk. We'll see if I'm right about that. Voodoo also mentioning there are days that I don't make a move at all. Me too. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I don't want to force myself into it. I want to make better decisions all of the time, no matter what it is I'm doing.
To answer the question, because I think somebody was asking about when does Bostic speak. He's scheduled to speak at 11 a.m. I think we already had one Fed member speak today. That was Williams. So we had Williams speak already. And Bostic is due to speak at 11 a.m. Eastern. To answer Hannah's question about, well, at least what I do in the morning, I jump on Benzinga Pro. I go to the scanners. I look and see what's moving, and I write down the ones that I think have look the best to me. I don't typically go for ones under $1 if they're trading under $1 still.
Same.
I like the ones that are over $1. I also look and see what they're doing, write down all this stuff, kind of do a little bit of quick research. And then after I get those tickers, I'll go into my broker and I'll look to the left on 1 hour and daily charts and see where we've had price action top out or bottom out, kind of, look at the tops of wicks or look at consistent levels of closing and opening. And I'll look and see what levels make the most sense to me. And then I'll have, I'll have everything I need in order to do my trades for today with that particular stock. I'll have my levels. I'll have my knowledge of why it's moving. And all I have left to do is just trade the damn thing.
You do all the preparation so you can focus on execution. To me, that seems like a sound plan.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we are actually going to be done here in just about 6 minutes. We're going to bring Zunaid on a little bit early here today. Still got some time left. Don't get excited, but this has been a really good morning so far. Really encouraged to for what we're seeing here. Smash up the like for our community and our day here today. 13, I'm going to step away for 1 sec. I think I need to handle something in the other room. I will be right back, real.
Sounds good. And for those of you that are trading CLSK, we just had a bit of consolidation about 15 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, and now we are breaking out to new daily intraday highs. 1657 is the new high. What else are we looking at today? We're still looking at the DJT. Okay, so came back in. Now we're bouncing around between the two levels that I had, 29 and 30. How about that? So now we need to see if we want to see some more upside, which we'll probably get here in probably another 5 minutes or so. We need to see this volume push back up through 30, and we want to go up to, I think we want to go up to 3340, 3350. That would be the next level that I have, and I think that would be a good move up based on this consolidation and this formation that we're having right now. So we'll see if that's going to happen. I'm not trading this right now. But that's what my levels are telling me. What else we got here? BPTH and Mara and Lunar. So BPTH. Okay, so this one looks like it wants to take another shot at 7. Last time it did that, there was some resistance at 7. It broke through. I think that was also halted when it broke through 7 too. And then we opened, topped out at 767 and came back in. Tell me if that's what happened. I believe that was what happened this morning.
Which ticker?
This is BPTH.
BPTH.
So watch for a big volume move through 7 or a big rejection, because that is definitely a level to watch. And then Lunar was also getting a mention. I think I may have skipped one there, but I'll get back to it. Lunar is essentially just kind of taking a more of a staircase up. You got these bull flags, and then they break out of the bull flags, and another one's created, breaks out. That's just kind of been the case so far this morning. But it's looking like it's starting to roll over. So I don't know how much longer Lunar's going to have here. I would say that if we can, let's see, there's 2 levels here that interesting me. You have the high from yesterday, which is about where it's at right now. Then you have the pre-market high, which is about 509, 510. So those would be the 2 levels of support that I would watch if you're still interested in trying to trade Lunar to the upside. And interestingly enough, the VWAP is right near that pre-market high with Lunar. So there's some levels for you if you're trying to trade that one.
Good stuff, 13. Thanks very much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Curtis was also mentioning Mara. I'll take a look at that one.
And we haven't done our daily check-in on route, and now we have, and it is slightly green here, but kind of holding.
Mara. It looks very similar to CLSK. Basically, if it's a Bitcoin name, they're going to look pretty similar. I'm sure Riot looks similar as well. Yeah, it does. So, Mara, Riot, MSTR, CLSK, they're all going to be moving with Bitcoin in the same manner. Good volume on Lunar. It's going to need it to keep going. It's just, the MACD is starting to show that it's kind of starting to curl. The price action is slowing down, the volume slowing down. That's these are hallmarks of why I think that we could start to see a rollover here. But then again, you might get some buyer to come back in and start pushing the price up. That's happened before too. So I'm just giving you some levels on where it could go to the downside. As far as the upside goes, I think Lunar's way down from where we were previous. Yeah, this is way down from where we were when this was going crazy, when the spacecraft was landing on the moon.
And then tipping over.
I'm sorry? And then tipping over. Yes, you're right. So Lunar tipped over with it. And now it's trying to get back above. It looks to me like it really wants to take out 530 because that was a high back on the 16th a couple days ago. And then 540 was the high on the 11th. So it seems like 540, 530 is about that topping out area that needs to get pushed past in order to get this back up to the 6s where we had that good price action.
UAL here, by the way, we did take a little bit of a dip off that impulse move off the open here. Looks like we're trying to kind of bottom out and curl back up. Testing the VWAP now. Watch if this goes higher for a retest of those intraday highs from the morning. I have that level here at about 5180-ish, right in there. Hannah here, thank you both for the information. I'm in finance for my day job. I can appreciate the pre-planning. We will try to plan our way through anything that we can, and we will react to things that we can't play for. We're glad to have you here and appreciate the nice words. Okay, we are just about out of time. That means that I need to bring on what I like to call the haircut. All right, let's bring on the haircut and see how he's doing. Zunaid,
what's up, buddy?
How you doing today, my man?
Good, man. It was good. I got a chance to come back from CCC, or cannabis event, the flagship one, and it was fun. It was good.
You do look a little tired, so I'm imagining you were rolling some. I'm just kidding. Anyway, how was the CCC out there?
You just want HR to watch the stream and fire me? That's kind of messed up.
It
was fun,
the
dude.
Preeminent cannabis conference in the world. HR don't give no cares about that.
That's very true. That's very true. No, man, it was awesome, dude. Just seeing everyone there. You had Ric Flair out there. Mike Tyson kind of zoomed in because he's preparing for his big fight with the Pauls, obviously. So it was fun, dude.
Let me ask you, did you get to see Mike in person?
I did not. He zoomed in, but I did get to see Ric Flair, and interesting guy.
Woo! Okay, so real quick here on Mike Tyson. I'm going to turn it over. I want to hear what we have going on. I just want to tell you this. I'm kind of excited for this fight too. Look, I saw Mike at the last cannabis conference. I literally stood less than 6 inches away from him.
Yeah.
Got news for you. I know he's in his 50s. Mike is still Mike, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Mike is still Mike, and it is going to be insane. Okay, Zunaid, what do you got coming up here?
Man, we've got my man Ahmed. It's really cool when you kind of get to see individuals that are kicking ass in the field of finance, right? And so I saw Ahmed on the timeline because he has some great insights on like Palantir and Hood. I know he was out. We were slacking about this, about Robinhood's gold membership with the perks that they're having. And Ahmed, I believe, was actually there. So he got the experience, and he had an awesome hour-long conversation with Vlad as well. So I'm excited to get his thoughts on Robinhood, the company, and where the stock is going to go. I know he's been buying little by little. And also Palantir, a stock that we've talked about in the past. I believe it's around $21, $20 right now. So should be a fun conversation, man.
Yeah, 13.9. We've actually traded those. So awesome stuff here. 13. Thanks so much for everything here today. Great job as always. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourself, and we will see you tomorrow. Zunaid, I am out of here. Good luck. Awesome stuff with the meet. Take care.
You got it, buddy. See you later. I'm going to give you a thumbs up when you're ready to go. We can bring you on the show. I got the thumbs up. What is going on? See, if you were going to bring an Indian outfit, I can't believe you didn't give me a heads up so I could go ahead and pop mine from the closet. I mean, come on.
I do my own market stream in the morning. Today I was just like, you know what? Tesla stock is down. We need something to brighten up the day. Let's do it.
I love it, dude. So I like to esports broadcasting, right? And we went out for a show, and I wore that like type of outfit. And I wore one that wasn't as colorful, and a coworker who's not exactly pleasant to work with, he no longer works with us at that time, was like, why is he dressed like a, what is it, a bellhopper, a bellman, whatever, at the hotel, the concierge? And I was like, okay, you're not wrong, because this isn't as flashy, but that's messed up. I wasn't a fan of it. But what's up, man? How's it going?
It's going good, man. Thank you for having me on. Excited to talk about the markets. It's been good.
Yeah, it should be fun. So let me ask you this before we kind of dive into anything. Dude, how was it being at that Robinhood event and just the experience itself? I was literally slacking our teammates because we covered the news, and I was like, this is badass. I signed up for gold right then and there. It was great. How'd you experience that?
It was a bit surreal for me, because the reason they invited me to the event was because I started covering the company when the stock was trading around $8 back in November-ish of 2023. Yeah. And I just had a lot of long form posts on Twitter that I didn't know the Robinhood communications team was looking at. But I was just like, dude, I think this is the best risk reward in the market. I think these guys are crushing it, and I think the market doesn't really get it yet. And as you know, stock's done well, company's done well. But for them to invite me to that event was really cool, because when you are a supporter of a company, but then you're in person watching that company, in my eyes, transform their trajectory. That's how massive that event was. I didn't expect those announcements. I knew we would get a credit card and stuff like that, but the stuff they announced was like, all right, the street's really going to take them seriously, hopefully, in the coming years.
One question about that event, and then we'll move on to actually talking about the stock. I know Vlad did the whole Steve Jobs things where he said, we've got 3 credit cards. And then he tried to position it as that moment of, it's a 3-in-1. How long? Don't lie now. How long did it take you to realize that it was actually one credit card and not three?
Or
did you know right off the bat?
No. So the funny thing about this is when he said that, I was staring at him. For some reason, Vlad kept staring at me because we got to talk a little bit before he went live. And I don't think he was nervous, but you always look at someone in the audience to make sure things are going well. And so every time they did a big announcement, because they had a bunch of them, he looked at me and looked at like if I was clapping or not. And I was like, yeah, this is great. And so then he announces the 3 cards. In my head, I'm like, this is the dumbest idea ever. Why would you do 3 cards? But he's looking at me, right? So I'm looking at him and I'm like, let's do it, baby. 3 cards. Give me 17 cards. Give me 1,000 cards. And then finally at the end, he was like, do you get it? And I was like, oh. And then I was so happy because I did not want it.
Yeah. Because in my head, I was like, damn, like now I got to worry about the perks of which one I want. So yeah, no, I'm excited for it right away, man. Okay, let's talk about it, right? Because a lot of conversation once that came out, once the perks of it came out, where it's like, hey, you've got the 3% match on the Roth IRA, when you've got the 3% reward cash back on everything, right? You have different credit cards. Like I have a Citi Cashback, gives me 2% back. I've got a Sapphire, which depending on travel and dining, you get 5 points back. A credit that's a 5%, yada, yada, yada. This is 3% no matter what you're doing in life. Let's be honest. Sometimes, because I am a credit card churner, if I'm paying rent with the credit card, I'm being charged 3%. If I pay with my Citi Double Cashback, I'm losing 1%, right? But with this, it's as if I just paid with my debit card. It is massive. It is huge. No one's denying that. But you have some insights and thoughts on the people that are saying they can't afford this because they're not that big. The Fidelities of the world couldn't do this. The Schwabs of the world aren't doing this. How do you think Robinhood can pull it off? What do you say to those folks?
I think it's all about user acquisition. I think at this moment right now, eventually this 3% probably won't be 3%. And eventually there'll be a cap on how much you can get a 3% on. I think that's in the future. Like every credit card does that. But for now, it's a question of how can you grab users? And the way to grab users is to create a phenomenal experience, which is 3% cash back. Now, even if it lasts, let's say a year of them giving flat 3% cash back, how does that work? They're going to lose 1.5% generously on this card because they get a 1.5% interchange fee. So how do they make up for that 1.5%? My idea is the master plan is that this is a loss leader for the business, but it's a loss leader that will be made up in significant amounts if it works. I think the 3% cash back, they have this one button on the credit card app that allows you to transfer all your points into, so if you have $100 and 3% cash back, you could transfer it right into your Robinhood app. I think they're going to explode deposits, and they make a ton of money off the interest on deposits. And in general, when you're a gold subscriber, you have a 8 times X the amount of an account size than a regular subscriber, and you deposit 2 times faster. So I think deposits, they'll be able to make more money, and the credit card itself will get people trapped into the ecosystem, which is going to be overall net good for Robinhood.
And I know you've been purchasing slowly but surely as the stock does dip. I think it was around maybe $21 or so around the time of the event. Now it's at trading about 17.42 live here. They've got earnings coming up. I think it's like May 8th or somewhere around in that ballpark. And I know that because I have it on my schedule to reach out to you. Are you expecting big numbers in terms of deposits for Q1 though? Or do you feel like this is more of a Q2 play where folks are kind of realizing, oh, okay, hey, I got to do this? Or do you feel like, because especially look, you had tax, right? On April 15th, that is in Q2. So maybe people like me who are late, they're like, oh, wait, I got to take advantage of my Roth IRA deposit or whatever. So to wrap that mumble jumble into the words, are you expecting big deposit numbers in Q1, or do you feel like it's a more of a Q2 play?
I am still expecting Q1 to be gigantic, and the reason for that is because their deposits have went from in retirement accounts. AUC, assets under custody, went from 1.5 billion to 4 billion over the past 9 days. That's public data. So that already has gone up more than 2x. They said that 25,000 people by the end of March transferred their retirement accounts. So that's over those 90 days. In January, they added 60,000 gold subscribers, which is 3x the amount of the monthly average of 20,000 in 2023. I don't know if those numbers held up in February and March, but they already did 7.4 billion in deposits in the first 2 months. If they did another 3 billion month in March, let's say they even did 2.5, they're coming in at 10 billion for the quarter, which is more than what they've done in the past 2 years. So I think it's gonna be gigantic. And the reason I'm bullish on the stock is because I think Q2 is gonna be gigantic as well.
For
so
sure.
I think they're gonna have a good year.
Well, here's my question, and we'll move on to Palantir in a minute. The numbers that you mentioned, obviously they're public, right? No one's trying to go to jail. But do you not feel like, hey, it's not baked into the price already? Or do you feel like the street is too focused on AI, inflation, and everything else that's happening and isn't really thinking long-term, therefore it's a good opportunity to buy? Or do you feel like, yeah, it is baked in, but I'm looking at Q2, 3, 4, and 5? You know,
I think, so I don't think it's baked in. I think the stock is at a run up, but I think a lot of people, because when they see a stock run up, they're like, all right, the good news is baked in. The stock was for 22 months, $8. it broke out. It broke out of a range. And when it broke out of a range, I did not expect for it to have the momentum that it had in terms of the gold events and all these catalysts. But those catalysts to me are just reasons for why the stock deserves to be a little higher. If you look at the enterprise value, the market caps right now of Robinhood, I'm looking at 15.2 billion. They have 5 billion in cash. That means you're paying 10 billion for a company that's growing 37% year over year, that is going to have deposits explode. And we really didn't even talk about the fact that if crypto gets anywhere near 85, 90,000, I mean, that's also going to increase trading volume. So I think there's a lot of room for this one.
And, you know, from the recent highs, not obviously highs of all time or anything like that, it's down about 15%. So from all the hype, like you kind of mentioned, you had a nice little spike up. And then from, you know, the end of the March, you've kind of got a nice little pullback. So look at that. My lines kind of do work sometimes. It bounced right off of 1658. That's always a good feeling. Any final thoughts on Robinhood before we move on to Palantir?
I got to speak.
The crypto is huge. The crypto. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Let's talk about that, dude. Okay. I know you said you reached out to your mom and she was like ecstatic about it, but you know, maybe it took a while to explain it. Tell me how that experience was, just as a human being. Forget the analyst side of it and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Vlad that was crazy is he wanted to do the interview. So when I got to talk to him a little bit before the interview happened, because the guy was setting up the lights, I was like, so who set this up? And he was like, dude, I told my board I wanted you to interview me. And he was like, the board kind of didn't want it because they were afraid of the reputation for the brand. Right. And he basically said, no. If we're a retail company that, you know, is for the side of retail, then we're going to have a retail guy interview me. So he's been reading my tweets for a while. That's why he was excited to have he hasn't done an interview in like 3 years. That's really long for him. My mom was going crazy because she just like, she doesn't know that I'm on YouTube and Twitter and that there's this audience that's like, she doesn't get it. Right. But so the fact that when you're in, she told everyone in India, so all 1.3 billion people now know Robinhood's brand. So thank you. You're welcome, Robinhood. We did some marketing for you.
That is amazing. Yeah, I know how those WhatsApps blow up because anytime I'm doing like a stream, and I had a big one maybe about 4 months ago, my siblings' WhatsApp was blowing up. I don't have any siblings, but it's my parents' siblings and then their siblings that are all in one WhatsApp. And so,
what's funny is I texted my sister, and me and Vlad took a selfie at the gold event, and I texted it to my family, and my sister was like, "Who's that?" So my sister did not give a crap, dude.
Just a billionaire. That's all it is. Well, let's move on to another billionaire. The CEO is talking about how people that are short the stock must be on cocaine. That was a nice little viral clip that went off. And of course, I'm talking about Palantir for the folks that aren't familiar with it. Stock, I mean, I traded this one, right? When it cracked $20, you can see kind of like my lines already there. I haven't adjusted them. Went on a nice little run up. Now we've got a recent pullback. What are your thoughts on Palantir, especially because look, a lot of the world is like, are you spying on us? Is this what this company does? Are you helping the government? This, that, the other. Forgetting that aspect of it, but like looking at the fundamentals, what do you think about the stock?
Well, the fundamentals are really important. I think the SPY narrative is people that really haven't took time to research the stock. If you do any level of research, there's a lot the company is doing that's actually protecting a lot of governments and corporations in a meaningful way. I think in terms of the fundamentals, Q1 earnings are going to do very well because customer count is going to go up. I think it's going to CAGR at around 12% per quarter. When customer count goes up, Palantir is able to generate top line revenue. The reason the stock gets a bad rap in the SaaS circles of Wall Street is because they're growing less than 20% year over year, but they're trading at a decent multiple. I think that PE is going to come down as growth goes higher. And I think the street is not pricing in how explosive that growth is going to be. This was at $27.50 when they got a Titan contract, which is a government contract for $180 million 3 weeks ago. And it's fallen down pretty significantly. They can get a contract tomorrow that explodes their revenues and reaccelerates government. And I think as a result of that, Q1 earnings can go really well.
Now, I know you've been slowly kind of purchasing and, you know, getting in your average. How long of a play is this for you, right? And when you play things like Robinhood, when you play things like Palantir as well, are you kind of looking in the sense of like, hey, this is a swing trade for me? So, you know, for example, for me, Palantir, I'd be like, all right, cool, I'm trying to get in now, maybe sell it around $27-30. But are you more so thinking, hey, a year, 2 years? What's your thought process here when you have already started buying and you publicly share that on Twitter as well?
Yeah. My goal is to hold Palantir forever. I mean, and I mean that metaphorically, right? Like this is one of the highest conviction stocks I have on the planet. This is Robinhood to me started as a trade. And then, and I do have, you know, some options that will expire eventually. So those will have to be traded. But I've started buying the stock because I just started to believe in the overall story of them going up against the Schwabs and Fidelities of the world and them having a real moat from that perspective. Palantir, I think it has the largest moat of any company in the stock market. And it's a much broader discussion, but as a result of that, I want to hold it forever. It's a company that I think can reach a Salesforce Oracle type of market cap, 400 billion. Right now it's at 50. And so I think it can do well.
Now, would you say, hey, you know what? I was wrong and I need to get out the stock? Because I always like to hear the side of if X happens fundamentally, right? Whether it's a executive change, whether it's a strategy change, or contracts aren't as juicy as you may have thought, or accounts receivable has an issue. What has to go wrong with Palantir fundamentally for you to say, you know what, I was wrong, I'm out?
So the funny thing about Palantir is that their fundamentals are really good. Adjusted operating margins are up from 17% to 34%. I mean, that's unheard of to double those in 18 months. Like, it's really stock-based compensation is 22% of revenues. That's come down. The one thing that sucks about them is that top line revenue growth is below 20%. If they can't get that bad boy to 25 in the next 18 months, over year over year, and CAGR at 25%, because you can't be a software company not growing at 25. That would be a red flag. So I think they'll get there, but it's going to take, probably 12 to 18 months to get there.
Let's go back to Hood here for a minute. What has to go wrong there for you to say, I was wrong, I'm out?
I think deposits have to not increase the way I'm thinking. The credit card launch potentially could go wrong in terms of Robinhood messes up the underwriting of the credit. And, the funny thing about Hood, and this is if the market declines, Robinhood probably will decline because it's so sensitive against the market. The reason I started buying that, which is why I was always against it as a long-term play. The reason I started liking it as a long-term play is because the gold business they're building and the retirement business they're building, to me, separates the stock, not a lot, but at least to an extent, from the fundamentals of the market. And if they can continue to show that separation is real, then that's bullish. If they can't show that separation, then it's really hard to hold it because eventually the market will fall up and down.
Yeah, and we briefly touched on the crypto side of things for Robinhood, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if I saw any real perks there, right? There was no real deposit match or anything about crypto at that event. It was solely focused on the deposits, the match, or anything like that. So, now, which is interesting because of the hype of crypto at the moment.
Well, over the past couple of weeks, they announced a couple of level 2 Ethereum partnerships, super nerdy stuff. They released the Android crypto app wallet, but nothing for crypto people. And I think it's because they're really scared to mess with the SEC. I mean, Robinhood would have Solana, which is one of the major cryptos on their platform, and they would have a lot of juicy Solana revenue that Coinbase is getting a monopoly on. But the SEC said they would shut them down because it's an unregistered security. So it's tough to work with crypto.
Isn't that crazy to you? And I know we're over time here, so I'll kind of keep it brief. That, hey, you have one publicly traded company that's able to do it, but you have another one that's not. And I assume this is because of the magnifying glass that you have because of the whole AMC thing and the options issues that they've had in the past with the clearinghouse and like liquidity issues. And in that sense, or what was rumored to be liquidity issues. I know he addressed it, that it wasn't that, but
I also think it's because they have stocks on the platform. So the SEC takes them way more seriously. They're a legit brokerage versus Coinbase, which is not really a brokerage at the end, so they have to deal with the Schwab and Fidelity regulations. And the good thing though, is in 2021, Robinhood did $231 million of crypto revenue in Q2. Last quarter, we did like 25 million. So or 43 million. So we have a long way to go to get back up to those real bull market numbers, which I don't know if it'll happen, but if Bitcoin gets closer to 85, 90K, it has a chance of happening, which is another catalyst on the stock as well over the long term.
Last thought, any final thoughts from you in terms of any other stock that you're kind of looking at? I know we've talked about Robinhood. You're a fan of that. You're bullish there. Palantir, you're bullish there. Any other stock, especially as we go into earnings season before we hop off?
I think SoFi has been beaten up over the past few months. I think SoFi, Anthony Noto, CEO, Rockstar, I think he's going to crush on April 29th. I don't know if they could sustain a pump. I do think there will be a pump closer to $8-9. Right now it's at like $7.15 or something. And we'll see if they can hold that pump over the long term.
I was watching the playoffs, or I guess the play-in yesterday, and I think it was some segment or something that was sponsored by SoFi. In my head, I was like, man, this stock just trades so thick. Like, it just never sustains itself. It just I remember being like, oh, student loan forgiveness, this and that. This thing is going to pop. Like, look at this range, right? We've been in this range.
They have a 20% short float. That's screwing them. And they recently just announced they're the official bank of the NBA. So for people that think SoFi can go bankrupt, I'm like, I just don't think the NBA would allow them to become the official bank if the company is going bankrupt. So I think the catalysts are there, but the shorts have to stop messing with it. And the CEO has to drop a hammer and make people feel stupid for not owning the stock for the pump to sustain itself after earnings. And we'll see if he can do it.
Look, FTX might have something to say about the NBA not letting them mess up. All right, let's not forget what arena. What arena was it? The one in Miami, I believe.
American Airlines arena. Yeah,
American Airlines. So but I hear you though that obviously this is a little bit different. But hey, man, really enjoy the conversation. Love the fit. By the way, the Believe that you have in the back, I've got a pillow that is the exact same thing.
My mom bought that for me, so there you go. Indian moms. There you go.
Love it. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and put your Twitter handle in the chat as well. And I look forward to more conversations, man.
Thank you, Zainab. Appreciate it so much. See you next time.
Got it, boss. See ya. That is my man Ahmed. Check him out, man. He's doing some great stuff, great insights, great analysis that he has on Twitter, and he's very transparent about his purchasing as well of stocks. Right, he shows you exactly when he purchased them, how many shares he went ahead and purchased, and at what price as well. So it's not like you're not getting someone that's kind of transparent with it. Really cool guy. I'm glad you liked the interview. Appreciate you, Elon. Let's go ahead and get into. Let me go ahead and check my schedule here, see what we've got. All right, we are good to go. But yeah, that'll kind of do it for us. We appreciate you all for hanging out, and we will be back tomorrow, obviously, with pre-market prep. And let us know if there are any other awesome analysts like Ahmed that you want us to kind of bring on the show and interview, get their insights. Let us know, and we'll be happy to bring them. But for now, see you later.